Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Always ready.
Awesome. Today we're looking at Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh, yeah, classic.
Right. This book has been huge EE for years,
Definitely a bestseller for sure.
and we're going to figure out why. What's the big secret? Why does everyone keep talking about it?
Yeah, what's the deal?
Well, one thing is that Kiyosaki totally changes how we think about money.
Mm,
He says it's not just about working hard.
right.
It's about making your money work hard for you.
Totally. It's like having your money do the heavy lifting for you.
Exactly. Does that make sense? Are you with me so far?
Absolutely. And I think that's a big part of why this book resonates with so many people.
Definitely. Okay, so to understand Kiyosaki's ideas, we got to start with the whole two dads thing.
Right, the core of the book.
Yeah, so explain that a bit for us.
Well, basically, Kiyosaki had two father figures in his life.
Okay,
His biological father, who he calls Poor Dad,
got it.
and then his best friend's father, who he calls Rich Dad.
Okay, so two dads, two totally different perspectives on money.
Exactly. And their advice to young Kiyosaki was totally different, which really shaped his thinking.
So it's like having two coaches with completely different game plans.
Yeah, a perfect analogy.
So, poor daddy. We play by the rules, right?
Yeah. Went to school, got a good job.
Yeah.
You know, the typical path.
American dream.
Right. But he was always struggling financially.
Interesting. So even though he did everything right,
Right.
he wasn't really getting ahead.
Exactly. It's like he was on that treadmill just running and running, but not really going anywhere.
Stuck in the rat race.
Exactly.
Okay, so then what about Rich Dad? What was his deal?
Well, Rich Dad was totally different. He dropped out of school and built his own businesses.
Oh, wow. So he was an entrepreneur.
Yeah. He wasn't afraid to take risks, and he saw opportunities where others saw roadblocks.
That's so interesting. I can imagine young Kiyosaki caught between these two philosophies, like, who do you trust? Who do you listen to?
Yeah, I bet that was tough. A real dilemma.
Right. So how did Kiyosaki navigate that?
He really wrestled with it because choosing Rich Dad's path meant going against what most people consider safe.
Going against the grain.
Yeah, exactly. But he saw it as the key to escaping that rat race.
That cycle of working for a paycheck and
Yeah.
just barely making ends meet.
Exactly. Living paycheck to paycheck, never really getting ahead.
So that leads us to one of the biggest ideas from Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
I'm ready.
The difference between assets and liabilities.
Huge. This is a game changer.
It is. I bet a lot of our listeners have heard this before,
Probably.
but it's so important that it's worth repeating.
Definitely worth a reminder.
Ready? An asset puts money in my pocket. A liability takes money out of my pocket. Boom.
There it is.
Straight from Kiyosaki himself.
Simple but powerful.
It really is. So let's break that down.
Let's think about how most people view their house.
Okay.
They see it as their biggest asset, right?
Totally. It's like the American dream home ownership.
Right. But Kiyosaki challenges that assumption. He says your house is actually a liability.
Wait a minute. Explain that.
Think about all the expenses that come with owning a house.
Okay. Like what?
Mortgage payments, property taxes, repairs, insurance.
Okay. Yeah, those can add up.
Exactly. It's all taking money OUT of your pocket every single month.
Mind blown.
I don't
So it's
know.
not actually putting money in your pocket like an asset should.
Precisely. At least not in the way Kiyosaki defines it.
Okay. So what does he consider to be an asset?
Anything that generates income for you.
Oh, I see.
Things like rental properties, stocks that pay dividends, a business that turns a profit.
So things that bring money in, even when you're not actively working.
Exactly. Those are true assets because they're putting money in your pocket 24/7.
I like that. 2047 money-making machines.
Right. So now I have a question for you and for all our listeners.
I'm ready. Hit me.
Think about your own life right now in this moment.
Okay.
What would you classify as an asset? What's putting money in your pocket consistently?
That is a great question to
Mhm.
think about. It really makes you stop and analyze your finances.
Definitely. It's all about understanding where your money is going and where it's coming from.
So now that we've got a handle on assets and liabilities,
Yeah.
let's talk about another big idea from Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Okay. I'm listening.
The idea of minding your own business,
Ah, yes. A classic Kiyosaki principle.
even while you still have a job.
Right. Even if you're working for someone else.
So it's not just about starting a company.
Exactly. It's a broader concept.
Okay, so what does he actually mean by minding your own business?
Well, he uses a great example.
Okay, I love a good example. Lay it on me.
Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's.
Right.
Everyone thinks his business was burgers, right?
Makes sense. McDonald's equals burgers.
Right. But Kiyosaki points out that Kroc was really in the real estate business.
Whoa, wait, really? How so?
He was buying up the land that each McDonald's franchise was built on.
Oh, I see. So he was building a real estate empire alongside the fast food empire.
Exactly. He understood the value of owning those assets long term.
That is brilliant. So it's about playing the long game.
Yeah. Building that foundation that generates wealth even when you're not clocking in.
It's like building a money-making machine that works for you 24/7.
I love that. A 204/7 money-making machine.
We should trademark that.
Definitely.
Okay, so we've talked about assets, liabilities, minding your own business.
Yeah, we're getting into the meat of it now.
We are. And that brings us to another core concept from the book.
Let's hear it.
The idea that the rich don't work for money, they work to learn.
Now, this is one that really gets people thinking.
It does. And I think it can be easily misinterpreted.
Yeah, for sure.
It doesn't mean you shouldn't care about your paycheck or work hard at your job.
Of course not. We all got to pay the bills.
Right. It's about shifting your perspective.
I agree. It's about seeing your job as an opportunity to learn and grow.
So even if you're not in your dream job yet,
Right.
you can still use that experience to gain valuable skills.
Absolutely. Skills that will help you in your journey to financial freedom.
Kiyosaki tells this story, working for a rich dad for free.
I remember that. He was pretty frustrated at first,
Yeah, who wouldn't be?
but he eventually realized that the real value wasn't in the paycheck. It was in the knowledge he was gaining.
Oh, I see. It was an investment in his future.
Exactly. He was learning about business finance, investing, all the things you don't learn in school.
So instead of being motivated solely by money,
Yeah.
Rich Dad was focused on learning new skills,
Mhm.
especially financial literacy.
Exactly. He understood that knowledge is power, especially when it comes to money.
He was always leveling up his understanding of how money works.
It's like that saying, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime.
I love that.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's more like teach a person about money, and they'll have the power to create their own wealth.
Yes. That's a perfect way to put it.
And that takes guts, right?
Absolutely.
Because you have to overcome that fear of losing money.
Definitely. Investing always involves some level of risk.
But mistakes are inevitable.
True. Everyone makes mistakes along the way.
The key is to learn from those mistakes and not let them derail you.
Exactly. And that's something Rich Dad emphasized.
He saw every experience as a chance to learn and get better.
He wasn't afraid of failure. He embraced it as part of the process.
Let me ask you a question.
Shoot.
Have you ever felt like you're stuck on that treadmill?
You mean the rat race?
Exactly, like you're working hard but not really getting ahead.
Oh, yeah. I think everyone feels that way at some point.
It's a common feeling for sure, and it's one of the things that Rich Dad, Poor Dad addresses head on.
Definitely. Kiyosaki provides a roadmap for escaping that trap.
He gives you the tools to take control of your financial future.
Exactly. It's about becoming financially literate and making your money work for you.
Awesome. So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have. We've talked about assets, liabilities, minding your own business, and the importance of working to learn.
But there's still so much more to uncover in Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, yeah, we're just getting started.
We are. So stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive, where we'll explore even more of Kiyosaki's insights.
I can't wait. There's so much good stuff coming up.
Awesome. See you in part 2.
See ya. So we left off talking about how Rich Dad saw every experience as a chance to learn right.
Right. He was all about turning those setbacks into stepping stones.
Exactly. And that leads us to another big point in Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Okay, I'm ready. Hit me with it.
Kiyosaki actually identifies 5 main reasons why people struggle to build wealth.
5 reasons.
Oh,
Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's hear them.
So number 1, fear.
Fear. Makes sense. I guess fear can hold you back from anything.
Totally. And it can be especially crippling when it comes to money.
Yeah, you might be afraid to invest, afraid to take risks.
Exactly. And Kiyosaki tells this great story about Rich Dad using the phrase, remember the Alamo.
Oh, wow. I remember that. But isn't that about defeat?
Yeah, but Rich Dad wasn't using it to dwell on the negative.
Oh, okay.
He was using it to turn fear into fuel, you know?
See, like turning that I can't into
Oh.
I'll find a way.
Exactly. It's about taking that fear and using it to motivate you.
So it's about using fear to your advantage, not letting it paralyze you.
Precisely. And that's a powerful lesson for any area of life, not just finance.
Totally. Okay, so that's fear. What's the next obstacle on Kiyosaki's list?
Cynicism.
Cynicism.
Yeah.
Interesting. How does that play into financial success?
Well, Kiyosaki argues that cynicism blinds people to opportunity.
I see they're so focused on the negative that they miss the positive.
Exactly. And he uses this great example.
Oh, I love examples. Let's hear it.
He talks about someone saying, "I don't want to fix toilets," when presented with the idea of investing in real estate.
Oh, that's funny. But I get it. They're so hung up on the downsides.
Yeah, they're missing the bigger picture. It's like saying, "I don't want to write code," when someone suggests starting a tech company.
Right. You're so focused on the nitty-gritty details that you don't see the potential.
Precisely. It's about having an open mind, being willing to learn new things, and not letting negativity get in the way.
So it's about having a positive outlook and seeing the possibilities.
Absolutely, and that's a crucial mindset shift if you want to achieve financial freedom.
Okay, so we've talked about fear and cynicism,
Two big roadblocks for sure.
and there are 3 more obstacles on Kiyosaki's list, right?
You got it. But before we dive into those,
Okay.
I think it's worth taking a step back and asking a bigger question.
Okay, I'm all ears.
How do we actually start inventing money, as Kiyosaki puts it?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, right? We've talked about assets and liabilities and mindset.
Right, but how do we actually put those ideas into action?
Exactly. How do we actually start building that wealth?
Well, Kiyosaki gives this pretty bold example.
Okay, I'm ready for some boldness. Tell me more.
He talks about buying a house for $20,000 and then selling it quickly for $60,000.
Whoa, wait a minute, a $40,000 profit? That's incredible.
Right, and it shows that money can be made or invented through smart investing, even in a tough market.
So it's not just about working hard at a job,
Exactly. It's about leveraging your knowledge and resources to create wealth.
but that sounds kind of risky too.
It definitely involves risk, but it's not about gambling.
Okay, so it's about calculated risks.
Right. It's about understanding market cycles, finding opportunities that others miss, and making informed decisions.
So it's about having the knowledge and the guts to take action.
Exactly. And Kiyosaki stresses that you don't have to do it alone.
Oh, good. Because I definitely don't feel like an expert yet.
He talks about the importance of having mentors.
So people who have already achieved financial success.
Right. People who can guide you, share their knowledge, and help you avoid costly mistakes.
I like that. It's like having a financial coach in your corner.
Exactly. And that can make a huge difference in your journey to wealth.
So find people who've been there, done that, and learn from their experience.
Exactly. And that brings us back to Kiyosaki's 5 obstacles to wealth.
Right. We talked about fear and cynicism. What are the other 3?
So next up is laziness.
Laziness.
Oh.
Okay. I think we could all relate to that sometimes.
Definitely. But when it comes to money, laziness can really hold you back.
Yeah, if you're not willing to put in the effort to learn and grow.
Exactly. You're not going to see the results.
So it's about being proactive and taking control of your financial future.
Right. Don't just sit back and expect money to magically appear.
You got to hustle.
Exactly. You got to put in the work.
Okay, so laziness is out. What's next?
Bad habits.
Bad habits. Like, what kind of bad habits are we talking about here?
Well, Kiyosaki talks about overspending, relying too much on credit cards, not saving for the future.
Okay, yeah, those are definitely bad habits when it comes to money.
Right. And they can really sabotage your financial progress.
So it's about breaking those bad habits and replacing them with good ones.
Exactly. It's about creating a budget, tracking your spending, and making conscious choices about where your money goes.
So being mindful about your finances.
Exactly. And that takes discipline.
It does.
Yeah.
Especially in a world that's constantly tempting you to spend, spend, spend.
Totally. But the rewards are worth it.
Okay, so we've got fear, cynicism, laziness, and bad habits.
That's 4. What's the 5th and final obstacle?
Drum roll, please.
Arrogance.
Arrogance. Interesting. How does arrogance get in the way of financial success?
Well, Kiyosaki argues that arrogant people think they know it all.
Oh, I see. So they're unopen to learning new things.
Exactly. They think they have all the answers and they're not willing to listen to advice.
So they miss out on valuable opportunities.
Right. And they often make costly mistakes because they're too proud to admit they need help.
So it's about being humble, being willing to learn, and surrounding yourself with people who are smarter than you.
Exactly. And that's a key takeaway from Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
It's not about being the smartest person in the room.
It's about being open to learning from others.
So there you have it. Kiyosaki's 5 obstacles to wealth.
Fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance.
A powerful reminder of what to avoid on our journey to financial freedom.
Absolutely. And now that we've identified the roadblocks,
Yeah.
let's talk about how to actually pave the path to success.
Okay, let's get practical. What are some action steps we can take?
Well, Kiyosaki provides a ton of practical advice in the book.
Okay, I'm ready to take notes. What's the first step?
So we were just talking about those 5 obstacles to building wealth.
Right. Fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance.
Yeah, those can really trip you up if you're not careful.
Totally. So how do we avoid those pitfalls? What does Kiyosaki recommend?
Well, he actually dives deeper into these ideas in some of his other books, like Rich Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant.
Cash flow quadrant. I've heard of that one.
It's really interesting. He introduces this model that breaks people down into 4 categories based on how they make their income.
Okay, 4 categories. I'm intrigued.
So first, you've got employees, the E quadrant.
Okay, E for employee makes sense.
And then self-employed or small business owners, the S quadrant.
Okay, so E and S, got it.
And what these 2 groups have in common is that they're trading time for money.
Oh, I see. They're working in their business, not on it.
Exactly. So even if you're your own boss, you might still be stuck in that working for money trap.
That's a good point. I never thought about it that way.
Then you've got the B quadrant business owners who've built systems and teams.
So their businesses can run without them.
Exactly. Their businesses work for them.
Ah, I see. That's the dream, right?
And finally, you've got the I quadrant investors.
Okay, so people who make their money work for them through stocks, real estate, things like that.
Exactly. They're leveraging their assets to generate passive income.
So the goal is to move from the left side of the quadrant, the E and S, to the right side, the B and I.
That's the idea. Kiyosaki argues that true financial freedom comes from owning systems that generate income even when you're not actively working.
So it's about building that passive income stream.
Right. Having your money work for you while you sleep.
That sounds amazing,
Yeah.
but it also sounds kind of hard.
It definitely takes effort, but it's not impossible.
Okay, so where do you even begin?
It's not necessarily about quitting your job tomorrow.
Okay, that's a relief.
It's about developing the mindset of an entrepreneur and an investor even while you're still employed.
So it's like having a side hustle that you're building up.
Yeah, exactly. And eventually that side hustle could become your main gig.
I like that. It's about creating options for yourself.
And along the way, you're learning valuable skills, building your financial intelligence, and creating multiple streams of income.
That's smart. Diversification is key, right?
Absolutely. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Kiyosaki also talks about different types of income.
Yeah, he breaks it down into earned income, passive income, and portfolio income.
Okay, I'm listening. Break it down for us.
So earned income is the most common type. It's the money you get from a job.
It's the trading time for money income,
Exactly. Passive income is the money that comes from your assets.
like rental properties or businesses that run without your constant attention,
Right. And then you've got portfolio income, which comes from investments.
like stocks and bonds.
Yeah, things that grow in value or pay dividends.
Okay, so the key is to transition from relying solely on that earned income
Yeah.
to building up those passive and portfolio income streams.
That's the path to financial freedom.
It's about creating a financial system that works for you.
And to do that, Kiyosaki really emphasizes the importance of constant learning.
He's all about those books, seminars, mentors, right?
Exactly. Never stop learning.
He definitely walks the walk, too.
Yeah, he shares stories of his own investments in real estate and small cap stocks.
Things he's had a lot of success with.
But he's very clear that those are just examples, not a one-size-fits-all formula.
Right, it's about finding what works for you.
Exactly. Exploring different strategies and becoming your own financial expert.
You can't just blindly follow someone else's advice.
Right. You got to do your own research and make informed decisions.
And, most importantly, take action.
Absolutely. Knowledge without action is useless.
Kiyosaki's all about getting your hands dirty and learning through experience.
He's like, go out there and make some mistakes. Just learn from them.
He's not afraid of failure.
He embraces it as part of the process.
That's a great mindset to have. So what's the ultimate message of Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
I think it boils down to empowerment.
Empowerment,
Yeah, it's about taking control of your financial destiny.
not letting money control you.
Exactly. It's about building the life you want on your own terms.
That's a powerful message. And it's especially relevant today.
Yeah, it feels like the world is changing faster than ever.
And having that financial stability, that sense of control is so important.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad is like a wake-up call.
It makes you question the status quo.
And it shows you that there's another way.
A way to create wealth, not just work for it.
And that's what makes it so inspiring.
It gives you hope that financial freedom is achievable.
But it also lays out a roadmap for how to get there.
It's not just a book, it's a movement.
A shift in mindset that can really change your life.
Well said. So for anyone listening who's feeling stuck,
Yeah.
who's wondering if there's a better way to manage their money,
And build a brighter future.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad is definitely worth checking out.
Even if you've read it before, it's worth revisiting.
There's always something new to discover.
Some nugget of wisdom that clicks in a different way.
It's a book that stays with you.
Yeah, it challenges you to keep learning and growing.
So on that note, we'll leave you with one final question to ponder.
I love a good thought-provoking question.
What's one small step you can take today to start building your own path to financial freedom?
It doesn't have to be a huge leap, just one small step in the right direction.
Remember, it's not just about how much money you make.
It's about how much you keep, how hard it works for you, and how many generations you can pass that knowledge on to.
Those are wise words. Keep those in mind as you navigate your own financial journey.
And remember, financial freedom is a journey, not a destination.
It's about constantly learning and growing and evolving.
Exactly. And we're all in this together.
So until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.